Yes, go ahead.
Hello, a warm welcome to everyone. This is Varsha Jangir from Electronics Part 2. As we all are familiar, the birth anniversary of the great Indian youth icon Swami Vivekanand is celebrated every year on 12 January in India. Vivekanand is regarded as a patriotic saint, and his birth anniversary is celebrated as National Youth Day. Swami Vivekanand is the greatest youth icon produced by India and one that influenced millions of youth across the world. He was a key figure in the introduction of Indian philosophies of Vedantas and yoga to Western world. To appreciate the work done by Swami Vivekanand and take inspiration from his idols, Electronics Engineering Society of IIT BHU organized the activities such as online essay writing competition, virtual poster making, online extempore. So before we go on with the program, I would request Ishan Bhaiya to please introduce everyone to all the profs and moderators who are present with us today.
Hello everyone, this is Ishan Amrit. Um this event has been possible under the guidance of N.S. Rajput sir, Associate Professor at Department of Electronics Engineering at IIT BHU. And we have moderators also, Ditik Singh and Fanindra Sharma. Fanindra is here. I would encourage them to say a few words before we begin forward. Ritik,
Uh, Hello, sir. Hello, Ishan.
hello.
Hello, everyone. And it's nice to see you all here. So while we are talking about the ideas that have been given by Swami Vivekanand, the broader connotation in the modern world changed, and with those changes, there has been also a paradigm shift in the ideas of the West. The West is looking at East to understand the new things, and clearly the ideas of Swami Vivekanand actually helps us to understand those ideas of East in the layman's term. Clearly, what he did years back at Chicago is of new relevance, and we'll keep on discussing this relevance in between your participation, so that it does not bore you as well as it becomes a part and parcel of the entire discussion itself. Thank you. Over to you, Ritvik.
Hello. Uh, our respected Professor N.S. Rajput sir, we would like to hear few words from you as well.
Uh, yeah. Hello, everyone. This is a wonderful evening, and I congratulate the Electronics Engineering Society and all the participants and all the members of Electronics Engineering Society, the officials who have taken up this challenge of celebrating National Youth Day, especially starting the series of events in this semester, in this year rather, with Vivekanandji. So obviously, this is a wonderful moment when we are starting such new generation activity with Vivekanandji. So national and naturally, he is a national youth icon since 1893. Ever since he made the biggest mark in the history of Indian prominence. So I look forward to hearing great opinions and views of our students. I understand that in today's context and scenario, the way he has been very bold and confident, strong enough to put the views of India before the world, as Indians are not the India is not a place of snake charmers and Maharajas. Rather, it's a place where we have great oration, we have great knowledge, integrity with the country, and so much. So, yes, it is very pertinent to listen about and read about Swami Vivekanandji, to learn lessons from his strength and capabilities, and to be brave enough to lead the country. For example, these days Modi ji is pushing India on a global map so boldly that gradually people have started following, listening, and observing India as a special case, where even the Indians are not so advanced and learned. So it's a great movement, and I welcome you all the participants who are we have more than 20 participants as contestants. Yes, it's a great movement. Let's start the celebration. I am very happy and congratulate each one of you. Let's go ahead. Welcome.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Now I shall call the second moderator, Ritvik Singh, to say a few words before we proceed to the actual event.
Yeah, hello. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, sir. And first of all, I congratulate all the participants that they are here. Very welcome to Electronics Engineering Society. And I'm happy to see that so many.
Just wait, I would like to interrupt a little bit. Please put
Yes,
your
sir.
camera switch on, especially when you are speaking, so that we can see you, even feel you from your appearance, right? So please, if bandwidth is not a deal, do switch on while you are speaking, right?
Yes, sir. So I'm happy to see everyone that we all are actually encouraging our own culture, and we are actually diving deep into our own past and rich cultural heritage. And I'm happy to see all of you here and excited to listen what you all have to give to us. And I would like Ishan to now start the event.
So I'm handing next details to Varsha. Varsha, you shall continue. We shall begin with the event.
Yeah. So I would request all the participants to turn on their camera while they speak. So diving right in, the first participant for online extempore event is Sudarshan Sarkar, MST Part 2.
Varsha, we were not able to see you.
Now, sir.
Audible?
Yes, Sudarshan, are you here?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can please switch on your camera, it would be very great.
On, I think it's on. Am I not?
Sudarshan's camera is on. Varsha, I am not able to see you. However, now you have already spoken, so you can switch it off. So, Ishan, are you able to see Sudarshan?
No, sir, not right now.
Maybe bandwidth you have is little
Sudarshan
less.
is visible.
Yeah,
Okay.
others are able to see him.
Okay, fine. Sudarshan, you can start.
Yeah. So, yeah. You were saying something?
Actually, I was saying that you must remember this, that you have 5 minute time, as I had already conveyed this in the email and WhatsApp messages.
Sure. Yep.
So time will begin as soon as you start speaking. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So you can start now.
Yeah. Good evening. My name is Sudarshan Sarkar, and the extempore topic will be Swami Vivekananda and his effect on Indian culture. So I thought it would be easier for me to Google the topic and come up with a great speech and probably win this extempore. However, I chose to share what I have learned myself and how I've perceived the world, changed and embraced Swami Vivekananda's teaching. So from 2014 to 2019, I have studied from in Ramakrishna Mission Vidya Mandira, which avails the ideals of and teachings of Swami Vivekananda and Sri Ramakrishna. Now, we all know Sri Vivekananda was a pupil of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa. Now, first thing we have been taught in Ramakrishna Mission was how to focus your mind. As Swami Vivekananda has said, the difference between an ordinary person and a great person lies in the degree of concentration. Now the psychologist, this is a attended lecture by the Vedanta Society in New York, and they have said that psychologists agree to this thing. The quality of life depends on how much we can concentrate and what we concentrate on. It's not just that we are concentrating, what we are concentrating on. If from childhood we have this practice of reading books, it can be a classic novel or just self-help books or anything that will impart knowledge to us. It's not just a disciplinary form, but rather it's a developing stage, because from childhood that is how a bird are nurtured. So when we are focusing from childhood on a good and positive effects, as we are growing, we learn to discriminate things between good and evil. Now there is nothing so called evil. The evil is when we perceive evil as something that harms us or others. Now as this has been a very good example will be for our student life will be uh, students usually study before exams, right? So there is this another part of Swami Vivekananda teachings comes for anxieties. So he says that your skill set and challenges must be at parallel. Now, what he means, let's say two students is appearing for exam, and one student and both of the students study just before the exam. One aces the exam and other fails. Now, two students are not bad students; both are good. Now, where things went wrong, the first student, his skill and challenges met, but the second or the latter student didn't. Why? Now his skill set was not up to the challenges. So what he had to do, he had to break this thing, the challenge in chunks. That means he has to study all over the period of his semester. Now we have seen, being in IIT BHU in the hostels, we have seen a lot of students follow, maybe not consciously, but they follow this same routine. So somehow this teachings has been incorporated in us. Now this has been a student life. Now how it can actually mold into a greater person, that comes from a selflessness. He said, or Swami Vivekananda said, they alone live who live for others. Now selfishness leads to narrow focus but a scattered mind. When we only concentrate about ourselves, what we will gain from doing this thing or that thing, we tend to feel anxiety, depression when we don't get it, or even if we feel that we are not getting the instant gratification, we don't follow. It's a journey. The success is a journey of how we can, of what we can give to the society. Now as from the student life we come to this factor that Swami Vivekananda has worked a lot on women empowerment. He said that there is no chance for the welfare of the world unless the livelihood of women improved. Now we all know he have worked for the education of women. We have a lot of Sister Nivedita societies which imparts education to women. And also we know in this during the colonial rule, he has worked boycotted the, or he have worked tremendously on the abolishment of sati pratha. So but however at the end of the day, he also said that as Ramakrishna have worshipped his wife Sri Sri Sharada Devi as a mother. Now Ramakrishna, now Swami Vivekananda also have embraced this factor. He has always said that perceive a woman as a mother. Now mother doesn't mean a mother in a motherly term. He meant as a goddess. Worship them, respect them. Women are feared in the patriarchal societies. That is a very true thing. We have seen Kalpana Chawla, who has an extraordinary focus, and she is one of the first women to reach space. So we know that women have been a frontier for our Indian development. However, in September 11, 1893, in his famous Chicago speech, he has spoken about tolerance and the end of fanalism. However, this is a very sad fact of our Indian culture that we have somehow forgot this fact. From 2014 to 2017, we have seen a monumental movement of cow vigilantes. Yes, there has been cow smuggle that have been caught, but apart from that, minorities and Muslim have been targeted and slaughtered for cow slaughtering. Now, we as a Hindu, we almost always forget this fact that every religion has their do's and don'ts. However, killing in every religion has been a taboo. But I don't know how we can protect a dharma by killing. Arjuna said in Bhagavad Gita that it is better to live begging than killing, because how we can enjoy blood-stained pleasures. So I will like to end this extempore with saying that Swami Vivekananda has led tremendous uh, enlightenment of our Indian cultures, from education, from focus, from spirituality. However, all this path lead to one and one goddess, God only, and that is the true Brahma. And that is one thing that we often forget, even when we are growing as a student. We often want money, pleasures, and that thing, this and that thing. But we often forget that our education must impart values to the society. Why we are doing, if we are doing research, why it should benefit us. These are the questions that need to be asked. And these are the questions that Swami Vivekananda's ideas have taught us to ask. Thank you
So
all.
Darshan,
That will be great. Thank you all for your patience. Thank you.
Varsha, continue.
Okay, thank you, Sudarshan. So next we have Sonia from Chemical Part 1.
Am I audible?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, go ahead.
Okay. So India is the cradle of human race, the birthplace of human speech, the mother of history, the grandmother of tradition. Our most valuable and most constructive material is the culture. So good evening, everyone. Myself, Sonia Karamchandani, Chemical Engineering Part 1. I am here to present my views on the topic Swami Vivekanand and his effect of on Indian culture. Narendranath Datta was born on 12th January 1863 in Kolkata. Afterwards came to be known as Swami Vivekanand. Swamiji laid stress on physical development because it was essential for spiritual development, which in turns lead to the development of culture of our country. He dedicated his whole life to the great upward swing of humanity. He found that in spite of India's rich heritage and strong cultural history, various problems like poverty, weakness, and social evil existed in our country. Swami Vivekananda became an inspiring personality in both East and West just after the speech at the Parliament of the Religion held at Chicago in 1893. In the speech, he explained that God is one and different religions are like.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt. Basically, the moderators actually want to comment something on the previous participant. Um, Ritvik, you can go.
Hello, is Sudarshan back? Is Sudarshan here?
Yes, I am here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so actually I think this was left to, we haven't informed you. I think
No.
it was mistake, so sorry. But there will be some critical questions at the end of
Oh, yes,
each of
sure.
the topics. So there it will be critical, so don't mind. Everyone, it will be on a critical tone.
Yeah,
So
sure.
my first question to you, sorry,
Uh-huh.
let me switch on the camera. My first question to you is, you said that skills should be at par with the challenges, is it?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, so I wanted to ask that if there is a situation when the challenge is too big for our skill set, so shall we avoid it or shall we leave the battleground? I'm asking what shall we do in that case if
yes,
our skills are not at par with our challenges?
yes. I would like to Swami Sarvapriyanandaji. He's leading this other Advaita Vedanta Society, and he's explained this very well. And I will be saying that. Hopefully, you won't mind. He said, let's say this challenge and skill set, compare it with the game of tennis. So when a person who never held a racket, he will first start with the serving, or rather return the serves. Now when his skill set, let's say this is his challenges, and from his skill set will reach up to this mark. Now he is not saying that don't play the racket or don't play the tennis. Play the tennis, but one at a time, one step at a time. Now when you are good at returning serves and also serving, now you will say it's boring, we have to move on for the next challenge. So you now challenge another player and you play a game. Now, what happens over here? Two things happen. Either you win the game or you lose the game. When you win the game, you feel, I have won, but that's not the end of it. There is a more skilled player than him or her. When you lose the game, now two things can happen. You have to work on it so that you can reach the level where you can play a game flawlessly. Or when you quit, there comes two things: one, anxiety, depression, uneasiness, or you're not good enough. Now here he's saying these four things are not true. This is your mind that is feeding you. What you have to say, these challenges are always perceivable. A strong character is built when you don't give up and you identify your challenges and work it through. Now, the skill set develops when you identify these challenges. If you cannot tackle a whole challenge as a whole, divide it, break it in chunks, and work it as 1 to 2 to 3. And then that's how you should be perceiving as a challenge. I
Okay.
hope I can
Yeah, thank you.
express it.
Okay, we actually wanted 30 seconds answer. So, okay, but your answer was
Oh,
extremely well. So,
thank you.
just a second question.
Yeah.
The question is, what shall we do? Just
Hmm.
answer in 30 seconds, not much. What
Yeah,
shall we
sure.
do if two religious practices, two deeply integrated religious practices of two different religions are contradicting each other? What shall we do in that situation? Just in 30
Uh,
seconds.
I will the very first thing that will come, as I said, cow vigilantes, right?
Yeah.
Hinduism, we worship cows, and in Muslims, they do eat as their food.
Yeah.
Now, if people have studied the old literature of Hinduism, Brahmins used to eat cows. Cows were termed as edibles. Now, that is not a mistake or something. This is how the cows have been valued uh, as an economy. Now, if a Hinduism doesn't want to eat cow, it's their choice, and a Muslim, it is edible. It's their choice too. The Hinduism is based on tolerance, not intolerance. Now, two things. Now, Muslim won't force a Hindu to eat that cow, or a Hindu shouldn't force the Muslim to not to eat the cow. There's their way of practicing it. That's all.
So Darshan, time is
Yeah,
up. Time is up.
yeah.
Time is
Thank
up.
you.
Sunny, do you want to ask something or shall we
No, no,
continue?
no, no. No, the
Okay.
time is up. We'll ask you
Okay.
next.
Sonia, you can start from the beginning.
Okay, Bhaiya.
Okay.
Uh, am I audible now?
Yeah, you are audible.
So India is the cradle of human race, the birthplace of human speech, the mother of history, the grandmother of tradition. Our most valuable and most constructive material is the culture. So good evening, everyone. My name is Sonia Karamchandani, Chemical Engineering Part 1. I am here to present my views on the topic Swami Vivekananda and his effect on Indian culture. Narendranath Datta was born on 12 January 1863 in Kolkata, afterwards came to be known as Swami Vivekananda. Swamiji laid stress on physical development because it was essential for spiritual development, which in turns lead to the development of culture of our country. He dedicated his whole life to the great upward swing of humanity. He found that in spite of India's rich heritage and strong cultural history, various problems like poverty, weakness, and social evil existed in the country. Swami Vivekananda became an inspiring personality in both East and West just after his speech at the Parliament of Religion held in Chicago in 1893. In this speech, he explained that God is one and different religions are like the different rivers that terminate into the sea. His idea became philosophy which is followed by people globally. His message was loud and clear that compassion and love are the means to reach the social and global harmony, and further he added that without spiritual awakening, economic empowerment will be half-hearted enterprise. The Vedantic teachings enlighten the West on the utility of religion as the rational and humanistic enterprise. His message were foundation of modern Indian nation. In this way, he contributed to the unite the nation. He also put curb on the conversion with his storming propagation of Vedanta in other countries. Vivekananda's contribution for the today's India can be best described by three C's, that is community, culture and country. He gave message of spiritual unison and creating awareness among youth. William James, the Harvard philosopher, called him the paragon of Vedantists. By expressing his community-based approach, Swamiji says that regeneration of India is a strong community. To achieve this, he entreats people to be united and develop solidarity towards fellow Indian by rooting out the superstitions, social evils, and caste superiority from the society. He awakened patriotism and enthusiasm amongst people through spiritual discussions. Swami Vivekananda was not only a social reformer but an educator who sought to modernize the nation of its social and cultural harmony. If education is viewed as the most powerful instrument of social change, his contribution to education through thoughts is of paramount importance. He defines education as the manifestation of perfection that is already in man. According to him, education is the continuous process. It should cover all the aspects of life, that is physical, material, intellectual, emotional, moral, and spiritual. His attitude towards modernization is that masses should be educated before anything else is done. He tried to make the people of India understood that political and social strength should have their foundation on cultural strength. He had a true vision of philosophy of education in India in its cultural context. His education thought has a very great significance today because education today has lost its connection with the values of human life. Therefore, he suggested that education should not be for stuffing some facts into the brain, but should aim at reforming the human mind. True education to him was not the career, but for the contribution to the nation. Vivekanand said that the education which does not help the common mass of people to equip themselves for struggle of life, which does not bring out strength of character and courage of a lion, is it was a worth name. Real education is that which enable one to stand on one's leg. Education must provide life building, man making, character making, assimilation of ideas. The ideal of this type of education would be produce integrated person. Personally, I think he should always be remembered for his inspiration to mankind, without a doubt the greatest source of achievement, pride, and inspiration. That's all from my side. Thank you.
The moderators can go on and cross question if they have any.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I would like to ask that you said about education.
Mm.
So, don't you think that education, if we go for cultural, physical, everything, whatever you said, then it would be very difficult to develop a centralized system.
But should I start now?
Yeah, you shall start just in
Uh,
30.
but for the overall development of a human of the youth, all these are very important. Like without proper, just stuffing something in minds like which are not of daily use. Daily practical things would not be much beneficial. So according to me, all these things should be included in education system, like preparing students in all the conditions.
Okay. Funny.
Sonia, I had one question. Uh, our current education teaches about competition, right?
Hmm.
Uh, Even sometimes when it is about highest rank, sometimes we require to even compete, hide information, do so many things. Vivekanandi says one has to be pure and be good to the people, even the rivals and others. How do you perceive this type of component in current education and competition and the society?
Sir, according to me, today everyone is just focusing on the competition, clearing different exams like JEE, IAS, IPS, etc. But according to me, all other aspects should also be judged through these exams, like how person is behaving behaviors towards other, and how is tackling the
Sonia,
problem. Yeah.
yeah, would you mind if I ask you a complimentary question to this? The question is that when you say these kind of things, there are in some exams, there are some aspects like this, that there is a paper of ethics and all these. But despite that, the practical results come out to be null and void, because how would you implement it? Say, for example, you have two options. First, to study rigorously throughout 1 year to go through JEE, and the second is to study with 10 along people who are from vulnerable section. If you will go for the first, you will get a good rank and you will come to IIT. If you go for second, 10 people might not come to IIT, but 10 people will be educated enough to go to a college. Which one will you prefer?
Uh, it's a tough choice. So basically, if if I am not according to me, I would prefer to study myself because a good rank matters for me. But if afterwards I can help them to just study well, because it's a tough decision for me to key which one to choose.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you very much.
And in
Okay,
fact,
fair advice. Right.
and in fact, this is where I strongly recommend everyone to go through the teachings of Swami Vivekanand ji, how to handle such situations when we have to uplift the overall society, our fellow people. Even if you are in a class, while you are conducting an experiment, doing some group study, you should be loyal and reasonable to your group, as well as there should be a healthy competition rather than rival competition. If you are working or going through some good book, share this information with others as well, that reading this book will help, right? And then later on, let's see whether who performs better. This is a very tough situation, but this is a healthy competition. So I don't know whether how much we individually can actually really live the way he used to. Okay, that was my point.
And just a fair advice,
Okay.
study from paper. Try to be original.
Okay. Okay. Can we proceed, Ritvik?
Yeah, proceed.
Yeah, we can.
Um, so,
Thank
uh,
you.
so
Guys, one small request. We all are sitting here so that we learn new things. So I'll request you all not to just tell what, like, we all know what is written there, what you understand from it. So better if we speak on the applied aspect. So we'll be more and like we'll be more interested in listening to the applied aspect, that how Vivekanand actually might be used if you have not used it yet in your life. So that is the idea, rather than we all discussing about that this is what he did and this is what he went there and there. So we should like the ethical part of the thing, the applied part, it's better and it will be more marks fetching if we discuss to those applied aspects. That's just an advice, rest is yours.
okay, Varsha, you can call the next participant.
So next we have Vivek Agrawal from Electronics Part 1.
Vivek. Vivek Agarwal, is he in the meeting? I saw him in the start.
Ishan, if he's not present, we'll talk to him later. It's better if we shift to the next contestant. We'll keep
Okay,
them
okay,
in the
fine.
Yeah, you
Okay,
can
Uh,
call it
so
meanwhile.
next
okay, okay.
is Vishesh Agrawal from Electronics Part 1.
So, Varsha, if you could announce the next contestant to that so that the person gets prepared if he is busy into something.
Okay, Bhaiya. Now Vishesh Agrawal, and after that Nishant from Electronics Part 1.
Is any one of them present here?
Uh,
So, till the time the person is called, or if they have any technical issue, let's discuss some small aspects associated with the idea and the philosophy. So recently there has been a debate that has been again brought to the light, the idea that France should learn from the real idea of dharma that has been given in India. So the real concept of multiculturalism. I'll stop at the moment when the rest person come, and we'll discuss it later on. So Ishan, you are free to speak in between. So
yeah, yeah.
so basically, the idea of the French model, rather, I'll say in the technical terms, the French model of secularism and Indian model of secularism. What is the reason that Indian culture sustained over a period of time, from ancient time to the modern times, in the same way in which it was? with changes over a period of time. However, we see that the cultures of Greece, the cultures of the rest of the Western civilization, like Romans even fell, Greece fell, and then there was we saw a Western Renaissance, and post which they realized that okay, they also had an ancient history while we retained our history in the way in which it is. So that's an interesting thing, Ishan. If like you people
Uh,
can think in the meanwhile time, so that we'll
yeah,
answer
yeah,
this question at a
yeah.
later part.
Uh, uh, I guess one of the participant is here, Kaushik. You can start. Meanwhile, we can call our next participants. Hello.
Hello, I am Kaushik. Can I start
Yeah,
now?
yeah, yeah, yeah. You can start.
Thank you. Arise, awake, and do not stop until the goal is reached. A warm welcome to each and everyone present over here. Now, I, Vamsi Kaushik from MNC Part 1, is going to speak about few lines on Swami Vivekananda and his efforts in Indian culture. Swami Vivekananda, whose original name was Narendranath Datta, was born on 12th January 1863 in Calcutta into a Bengali family. We see commonly on this day we will commonly celebrate as National Youth Day to honor his great efforts on Indian culture and the way he tried to empower the youth of India through his teachings and ideas. He was a figure with high thinking and simple living. He was a great leader, a philosopher, and also a devout personality with great principles. He eminent philosophical works comprise of more than Vedanta and Raj Yoga. He was a principal disciple of Sir Ramakrishna Paramahansa and was the initiator of Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission. He thus spent his whole life in the dispersion of the values embedded in the great Indian culture. Swami Vivekananda had a deep faith in man and realized that the dignity and diversity of human beings, in fact, he finds manifestation of God in man and he actually served God in man. He simply says, if you want to serve God, then there is only one possible way to serve the needy ones, as it is more than equivalent by simply serving to God. In the opinion of Swamiji, each soul is potentially divine. He says the only God to worship is the human soul in the human body. Of course, all living beings are templates too, but it is a man's highest temple. We want to worship in the temple alone. Swamiji wanted to realize God residing in the human body. Now, Swami Vivekananda made several efforts to Indian culture through his ideas and teachings. First idea. He was deeply shocked by the conditions of rural Indian people, ignorant, superstitious, half-starved, and carelessness of the so-called educated upper classes. He wanted education to doorstep of every poor peasant so that their children could work and learn side by side. It was a kind of non-formal education which perhaps he visualized. Idea number two, he trained Vivekananda to see India struggling about in Western clothes and imitating Western ways and manners as if that made them really Western. He wanted Indian to learn science and technology from the West and his power organized and his practical sense, but at the same time retain his high moral and spiritual idealism. And as Rabindranath Tagore once said, if you want to know India, then you need to study about Swami Vivekananda. This holds true even today. Indeed, no one was studied India's body and mind so thoroughly as Vivekananda did. Idea number three, the treasure which Vivekananda never tried of mentioning is India's spirituality. He made it clear to the Indians that India may be poor in respect of worldly treasures, but it is a domain of God. She is the wealthiest. And in this art of showing how noble and beautiful a human being can be, India is most skilled in the world thanks to Swami Vivekananda. Three golden rules from Swami Vivekananda, which every one of us has to implement in one's life. Rule number one, we should never forget them who are helping us. Rule number two, we should never hate them who are loving us. And rule number three, and finally, we should never cheat them who are trusting on us. At last, I want to end this extemporal. I strongly recommend each and every one of us to read some of his great books so that we can understand the spiritual lessons and apply them in our real lives. Thank you.
Thank you. We don't have any cross question at this moment of time. So
I
if
think
Ritvik has,
I have one.
okay.
You
You
can
guys,
ask any. Sorry.
yeah. Yeah, I wanted to ask that you told about that the elite class, it concentrates wealth, and then there is a social divide. Basically, your summary was this. Am I
Yes,
right?
sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So, but if we all start giving and donating and living a socialist life, like Swami Vivekananda also did, but ultimately he ended in a very bad situation economically. His family also suffered a bit in between. Later, when he got with Ram in the ashram of Mr. Paramas. Then there, many of his friends helped him to with the economic crisis. But this is a very true reality that he also faced, and at that time he faced a severe economic crisis. So, what do you think? How shall we combat that?
Okay. Before I will answer this question, I want to tell a short story on Swami Vivekananda's life, which is
Bro,
very
we
interesting.
have 30 seconds.
Yeah, we have
You
30
just
seconds.
crisply give the summary. Crisply give the summary, whatever you want to have.
What I want to say is we should learn each and every lesson of Swami Vivekananda so that we can improve our spiritual way of learning.
Okay.
Okay, okay, we can continue.
Any more cross questions? Sir, do you have any cross question for him?
No, no, let him go. It's fine.
Okay,
Very
fine. Okay, fine. Varsha, you can
So
call the next
basically,
participant. Okay,
yeah.
fine, Indra, you can continue.
I know, Varsha, till you get the next participant. Basically, what Ritvik highlighted is a very interesting debate that exists over a period of time. So there are two people I'll like to name so that we all get the at least a small answer of that. First is Mahatma Gandhi, who gave the concept of trusteeship. And in approximately in 2006 or 7, Bill Gates came with the idea of welfare capitalism. So what both these ideas try to say, they try talk about egalitarianism, which has been also given by John Rawls and uh, Macpherson and many other people. So what the idea is that whatever you earn, if you have been given with the aptitude to work and to gain wealth, since we live in a society where money cannot be eliminated, so the idea is you become the trusteeship of your money rather than thinking of yourself as the owner. So basically, use the money which you think is required to be used, and that should be left to you with the idea that use it minimum, and the rest of the money should be used for the purpose of the society. Because ultimately, the satisfaction, as Hobbes highlight, is all the highest qualities of satisfactions, as he says, lies when we do a part that is associated with society. So it's not that we have like we'll keep on spending money till we get poor. We'll keep on earning more and more money, and we'll keep on spending a substantiated part of that money to the society, so that the cycle keeps on running. We are also giving the inputs to the system, and that's basically from where the idea of corporate social responsibility emerges. Over to you, Ishan.
Um, Thank you, Fanendra Bhaiya. So next we have Vivek Agrawal from Electronics Part 1, and after that, Vishesh Agrawal, be prepared.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, Vivek, you're audible.
So, good evening, everyone. I am here to present my views on Swami Vivekananda and about his great thoughts. Since childhood, Swami Vivekananda will need to see the God face to face. He had asked many religious men about his ways in past, but no one satisfied him. Now, this godman of Dakshin world is telling him that anyone can see him as a god in the same pure form. He doesn't believe his word. He wanted Saint to prove him. Over the time, he experienced that beautiful divine in his life. He became the most influential disciple of Saint. His teacher taught him that God lives in every human. So by serving humanity, we can serve the God. Hence, humanity is the key of the human life. At the Metropolitan Institute of Calcutta, Swami Vivekananda was educated. After passing, after passing what?
Hello, hello. What happened? What happened, Vivek?
Someone was speaking. That's why I stopped.
No. You can continue.
Okay, great. After passing the entrance test, he joined the General Assembly established by the Scottish General Missionary Board in Calcutta, from which he received his BA test and practiced law. But since his father died, his family financial condition was not allowed him to sue for the further study. With our word, he said that with our word, we can make people feel comfortable in our presence or repel them. Having purity of speech is a prerequisite if we want to build and sustain the cordial relation in this world. Especially in the corporate world, warm and kind words have a great potential to strike the chord of brotherhood of oneness in people. Speaking personally, like introvert, I was very afraid to approach the people and taking advice from them and interacting with them. But as a part of the society, it is very important to express your feeling and also understand the feelings of others and be implement their rights and wrong on our lives. I would like to narrate an incident. One day, a Britisher commented that the Indian dressing style was uncivilized. Swami Vivekananda replied, "In our culture, clothes build a man, but in our culture, character mean a man." This story became very famous the world over, showcasing Swami Vivekananda's deep understanding of the world. So let's respect our culture and tradition. Culture, tradition, and relief make every community unique, and our own reasoning about their significance, importance, and enable us to help clear other doubts and precision of ideas. So this is all from my side. Thank you.
Okay. Cross question from the moderators. Ritvik?
I don't think. Panindra, sir.
No, I don't have any. If someone is talking.
Yeah, let him go ahead. At the end, we can have one extempore discussion with all these participants on one particular or few specific thoughts, and let us see how they respond. Right. So for now, let them go ahead. Yeah. The next may take up.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so next we have Vishesh Agrawal from Electronics Part 1.
And you can also call the name of any more participant if there's any.
No, we are.
Hello,
Okay. Vishesh, you can start.
am I audible?
Yeah.
Hello, myself Vishesh Agarwal. I am from Electronics Part 1. Today I'm going to give a speech on Swami Vivekananda and his impact in Indian culture. Swami Vivekananda was born Narendranath Datta, son of a well-known lawyer in Calcutta, Biswanath Datta, and a very intelligent and pious lady, Bhuvaneshwari Devi, in year 1863. He was the chief discipline of Ramakrishna. The notable thing about the Vivekananda was his flaming zeal for reviving the greatness of Hinduism and the motherland. There are many contributions of Vivekananda in the Indian culture, and the list is endless. So he was deeply shocked by the conditions of rural Indian people, ignorant, superstitious, and half-starved callousness of the so-called educated upper class. He wanted education taken to the doorstep of every poor peasant, so that their children could work, learn side by side. It was a kind of non-formal education which perhaps he visualized. It pained Vivekananda to see India struggling about in Western clothes and imitating Western ways and manners as if that made them really Western. He wanted India to learn science and technology from the West and its power organize and its practical sense, but at the same time retain its high moral and spiritual idealism. If you want to know India, study Vivekananda, was Rabindranath Tagore's advice to Roland. This holds true even today. Indeed, no one was studied India's body and mind so thoroughly as Vivekananda did. The treasure which Vivekananda never tired of mentioning is India's spirituality. He made it clear to the Indians that India may be poor in respect of worldly treasures, but in domain of thought she is wealthiest. And in the art of showing how noble and beautiful a human being can be, India is most skilled in the world. This self-awareness, this new insight was Vivekananda's contribution to India. It eventually gave rise to the nationwide regeneration, which resulted in the struggle for independence and its eventual attainment. Roman Roland said that at the call of Jesus, the dead Lazarus came to life. So also at Vivekananda's call, a moribund India was infused with new life. To understand the contribution of Swami Vivekananda, one needs to first appreciate the centuries of invasion and foreign rule that had rendered inferiority complex in the minds of Indians, especially in the region above the Krishna River. This was followed by the political annexation of subcontinent by Britishers. They wrote Indian history to suit their narratives and propagate the idea that India had never been able to rule themselves successfully for long. Lastly, I would like to say that Swami Vivekananda was also told that he had traveled the breadth and the length of the India. Just it means that he had his ideas and his knowledge have passed. It has been spread all over the India. Thank you.
Okay, so that was Bishesh Agarwal. Varsha, you can take the name of the rest of the participants. If they would be here, they would respond.
Okay, Bhaiya. Nishant from Electronics Part 1. Then Harshit Mishra. Anurag Chaudhary. Sumit. Then Rahul Kumar Pandey.
Okay.
I think no one is present here.
Okay, fine. So I guess this many participants were actually present in the meeting. So moderators, we can continue with the further discussion. If anyone comes, we will present them an opportunity to speak.
Ritvik, please start the discussion.
Yeah, okay, sir. See, first of all, as we are discussing on Vivekananda, I would like to ask a question to all of you. Any one of you can answer, or everyone present in the meeting. Uh, the question is, can I be an atheist and practice Hinduism at the same time? Because Hinduism has a very wide definition of God, actually. Because go back to Vedic times, we don't had idol worship, nor we had the Trimurti. It came during the Gupta period. So Hinduism is a very, what you say, we have many branches and we have many paths to actually reach the God. So this is my question to you all. Can I be atheist and practice Hinduism at the same time? And will I attain moksha from that path?
May I answer the question?
Yes,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sudarshan is speaking right now.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. One thing we all know, I think, that Swami Vivekananda himself was an atheist at the beginning of his life. And Sri Ramakrishna Dev did say that it is not a wrong choice. Rather, he is the true sense of atheist. An atheist is not a person who doesn't believe in God. He is a person who questions everything, judge itself, sees for himself, and then believes in. That's the first question. Answer to the first question. And the second question is, there are so many branches of like idol worships and so many stuff, and then where it is leading? To that answer, Sri Ramakrishna Dev have participated, or rather have taken up all the religion himself and tried each one of them at a time. Muslim, Jainism, Christianity, Muslim, everything he has. And at the end of the day, he only concluded that all this path leads to one and one path only. That is the
Sudarshan, your time.
That's it. My answer was that.
No, it's okay. Ishan, do we have the next contestant?
No, we don't have any more further
We are
contestants.
open
You
to
can
discussion actually. The answer was very brilliant answer.
So basically, Sudarshan, but I have a counter question to you. You said
sure.
that all paths take us to the same way, where I diverge my view. Have you heard about Semitic religions? Basically, three main religions: Christianity, Judaism, and Islam.
Yes.
So basically, they differ in this idea when you talk about Hinduism, because you say all take them the same path. They believe, because that's a very interesting debate between Hinduism and the Semitic religions, and this is a classical debate in those who study theology. So basically, what the idea is that Semitic religions believe that especially when in Christianity we talks about the Catholic side. So basically, it believes in the idea that the life the only way to get moksha, what we call it is in Hinduism,
Nirvana, whatever,
is to nirvana, whatever you like to call it. So basically, this idea can only be attained if you worship, if you just request the God. So basically, in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, God is much more powerful conceived identity as compared to Hinduism, right?
True.
So the
Yes.
idea is it's just the wish of the God. Just keep your actions minimum and just request it. On the other hand, in Hinduism, there are so many branches. Right from the idea of, as you discussed, the Vedantic philosophy, there are a lot of other branches. So the idea is that in this way, Hinduism differs, because in Hinduism, you have the concept of rebirths, reincarnations. So such concepts do not exist. And the theory of karma, the karma theory, does not exist in the rest of religion. So basically, how would you defend it then? If the other religions say that, no, this is the only way, you just pray the God. And on the other hand, one religion is saying that, how would you defend it?
Okay, to answer that, how about we go to a bit of medieval period when Christianity was like kind of dominated the world, and they have almost opposed every kind of challenging proposals. We know Harvey; he has been. Sorry.
Basically, I'll just consider this just as a healthy debate rather than.
No, sure. I'm not.
So basically, in medieval age, when you say Christianity dominated, the idea is a bit vague, because what dominated at that point of time is not yet clear to those who have studied medieval history. Islam versus Christianity was the constant debate, and if you have heard about a phenomenon known as fall of Constantinople, so if you have known it, it reflected that Christianity almost lost the battle to Islam. And when Christianity lost that battle to Islam, at that point of time, Islam and Christianity both were almost equally at the same state. Then it was that then to defeat then to just to prove that their God is supreme, they asked the people there, philosophers, scientists, to work and to prove that what is written in Bible is the correct truth. And thus the people started to do the research, and that led to Renaissance, and that Renaissance was the something that is the modernity concept of Christianity. So in medieval age, both the religions were same, and even I'll say Islam was more dominating.
Yes, but I haven't completed. What I said was like from medieval period, this thing like one and one God only and nothing else has been hammered. We have read the Old Testament and the New Testament even for the Moses at that point of time. Now coming to this point of time where Hinduism comes, and Sri Ramakrishna Dev said once this that it's written in Kathamrita that if you take a pitcher of water, okay, there's two examples. If you take a pitcher of water, now different religion can call it in different names. Some call it pani, some call it water, some call it jol. But at the end of the day, it's a composition. We all know in science, we will say it's H2O, nothing more than that. Now, what our religion should actually manifest in a person is the ability to distinguish between good and evil. Now, good and evil is not a war that we're going outside and fighting. It's within ourselves. What we're absorbing, what we're focusing on.
Yeah, Sudarshan, just 10 seconds.
Yeah.
What you are saying, philosophers basically try to say this is ethics, not religion. So when you are talking, when you're talking about religion, why are you bringing only the ethical side of the religion? There is an unethical side, and thus the idea is to leave the religion and just to go on ethics. How would you defend that?
Yes, I will say in this point of time, the way I have been learned in this Ramakrishna Mission order is what is religion actually? We should be asking that question to ourselves. We have a lot of philosophical answers to that. But to ourselves, I think it's a livelihood, how we live our life. It's a guideline, not an absolute everything. A religion shows you the way.
Cool. I got the answer. Thank you, Sudarshan. And basically, what Sudarshan has highlighted right now is a classical debate of what is dharma. So have you ever heard the term, like I'm not talking like specifically to Sudarshan, to everyone, have you heard about term dharmo rakshati rakshita? So basically, what does it mean? Does it mean that you have to become a religious bigot? No. So basically, the idea of what is our dharma.
So dharma has two meanings, and those who do radicalization, they try to conceal the first meaning of dharma from the second meaning of dharma as per their convenience. So one meaning of dharma that has been highlighted, it is known as self duty, or what in Hindi we call swa kartavya palan.
Fanindra, any other participant wants to add something to this, or wants to counter what any both of them are saying?
Yeah, actually, we want you all to counter us.
Yeah.
We are here to counter you. We will criticize everything you speak. And now, if you change your stance, we will change our stance also. We are here to criticize you. We want a healthy debate. We want
healthy
some
debate. Yeah.
So Vivek Agarwal, Vishesh Agarwal, Sonia, anyone, do you want to add something? Basically, it's very you don't need to see something and speak. You can think and actually speak, and basically creative speaking. So please, yeah, Vivek.
I want to answer the question asked by the Ritvik Bhaiya.
Yeah.
That you can be atheist and Hindu, follow Hinduism simultaneously. Yeah. So I would say that Hinduism is not a dharma actually. It is so called was Sanatan, which means that truth is everything. There is no such thing like we worship God, we offering flowers and all. It was just a belief that there is a super power exists in this universe which mentor everything and keep record of your sins and your good deeds. So being an atheist is not like you were evil to your society. It's just a belief of everything.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, Vivek.
Anyone else?
Anybody else? Sonia, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I also agree with Vivek that offering flowers and doing something are just the feeling of the person to for his God. We should respect all of them, not criticize anything. Like every religion has their respects, so we should.
Okay, Sonia.
Okay, I think this
We have
question.
wait. Sorry to interrupt. We have one participant, Rahul Kumar. He has just joined now. So we will first listen him and then carry with our discussions.
Okay.
Oh, Rahul, you can start your example.
Thank you, Bhaiya. Thank you, sir.
Please switch on the camera.
मैं continue कर सकता हूँ ना?
हाँ, you can speak in Hindi and please switch on the camera. And try increasing the volume of your microphone. We can barely hear you.
Yeah, Bhaiya, now I am audible.
Yeah, you are audible. You can start.
Yes. आदरणीय अध्यापक महोदय, मेरे सहपाठी वृंद, आज मैं स्वामी विवेकानंद के बारे में कुछ कहने के लिए सौभाग्य मिला है मुझे। स्वामी विवेकानंद एक लीडिंग लीडर थे। लीडिंग लीडर मतलब लीडर का डेफिनेशन ये होता है कि जो कि लीडर बनाते हैं। हमारे देश के लीडर जैसे कि सुभाष चंद्र बोस, महात्मा गांधी और ऐसे ही बड़े बड़े लीडर्स के लीडिंग लीडर्स स्वामी विवेकानंद जी थे। वो उनके हीरो थे। 12 जनवरी 1863 को पिता विश्वनाथ दत्त के घर उनका जन्म हुआ था। उनके माता भुवनेश्वरी देवी शिव जी की बहुत ही बड़ी भक्त थी। काशी विश्वनाथ की पूजा करके उन्हें इस अद्भुत बालक का प्राप्ति हुआ था, इसीलिए उन्होंने उनका नाम बिले रखा था। ऐसे प्रतिभा के धनी हमारे स्वामी जी स्वामी जी के बाल्यकाल के बारे में बोला जाता है कि वो अपने बाल्यकाल में ही बड़े बड़े उनके पिता के बड़े बड़े पुस्तकों को पढ़ लिया करते थे, और एक बार एक विशिष्ट ज्ञानी उनके पिता के ऑफिस में गए थे, तो उन्होंने स्वामी जी से उन किताबों के बारे में पूछा था। तो उन्होंने उन किताबों के सार और उसके ऊपर टिप्पणियां भी की थी। स्वामी विवेकानंद जी का व्यक्तित्व बाल्यकाल से ही प्रस्फुटित हुआ था। उनके गुरु श्री रामकृष्ण ठाकुर जी के साथ उनका मिलन उनकी प्रतिभा को और भी निखारा था। वो स्वामी ठाकुर रामकृष्ण जी के तत्वावधान से उनका जीवन बदल गया था। वो आध्यात्मिक क्षेत्र में उन्नति किए, और उनके गुरु के देहांत के बाद वो संपूर्ण भारतवर्ष का भ्रमण किया, और भारतवर्ष के दारिद्र्य और ऐसे दुर्दशा को देखते हुए उन्होंने ठाना कि वो इस मातृभूमि की सेवा करेंगे, और उसके लिए वो संकल्पबद्ध हुए। संपूर्ण भारतवर्ष का भ्रमण करने के बाद जब वो कन्याकुमारी स्थित वो सर्वनिम्न भाग में जब पहुंचे, तभी वो समुद्र को लांघते हुए सबसे दक्षिण वाले शिला में बैठे, और उधर उन्हें उनकी गुरु की वाणी सुनाई दी कि लांघ जा ये समुद्र और पहुंचा दे अपनी देश की वाणी। और इसी से ही स्वामी विवेकानंद को अपना लक्ष्य का अनुभव हुआ, और वो निकल पड़े अमेरिका चिकागो धर्म सभा के अभियान में। उन्हें इसके लिए बहुत संघर्ष करना पड़ा था, क्योंकि उनके वो तो एक ऐसे सन्यासी थे, और उनके लिए पैसा सबसे बड़ा समस्या था। वो भारतवर्ष में घूमते हुए बहुत सारे दोस्त बना लिए थे, तो उन्होंने उनका मदद किया।
Rahul, it's time is up.
Okay, भैया.
You can end your speech now. Okay. Any cross questions, moderators?
First of all, Rahul, I want to ask, is Hindi your mother tongue or not?
No, भैया. Odia is my mother tongue.
Okay.
And that's a great gesture that you are. That's really a great gesture, Rahul, that you are speaking in a language which you are trying to learn. That's really nice.
Extremely wonderful.
ऐसे मैंने कभी बोला नहीं था, तो मुझे भी
it's really commendable, this thing, because these small events are just meant so that people can come and improve their communication skills. So it's extremely wonderful that you participated.
Yes,
thank you. In fact, I would like to, appreciate Rahul's efforts to speak in Hindi, whereas I could perceive that he is not so fluent in Hindi. So Hindi is not usually his first choice. Still, he chose. In fact, for that, I gave him some slightly more additional credits to be brave, just like Vivekanand ji also spoke in Hindi, right? So that is too good. It's a reflection of good leadership. Very good. Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So we shall continue with our discussion now. Um, so Sonia and all the rest participants, you were speaking something before I interrupted you, so you can continue. I guess they are not here.
Yeah, I think so.
Uh,
Phanindra, you are on mute.
I'm on mute. I was sorry if I was on mute. So
Okay,
basically,
okay.
yeah. So we were
Phanindra, you
basically
can continue.
basically we were discussing about our idea of the Indian idea of religion versus the Western idea of religion. Interestingly, a case happened. I was recently, when I just was thinking, I just went through the book and realized it. In 1995, a case happened in one of the districts in Rajasthan where a person claimed that if he will win the election, he'll make the country to in a religious country. I'll not talk about the religion, and let's talk about the religion only. He said, if I vote and if you people vote for me, I'll make a Hindu Rashtra. So the opponents went to the Supreme Court by saying that this is against the basic structure of the constitution, and that is secularism. At that point of time, Supreme Court gave this definition even that Hinduism is not about a religion. There is one aspect of Hinduism which is religion, and then there is other aspect, as I highlighted it, it is about the duty. So when someone speak about so of course the person was held guilty because his intention was not while he was referring to Hinduism, his intention was not about that. He was referring it in the sense of what we can call as a mazhab or just a religious branch. So basically, but here Supreme Court gave one very interesting observation, and then Supreme Court highlighted this feature that the idea of doing our duty, as it is also being enshrined in the fundamental duties of the Constitution, is basically what is religion. So if you are doing your dharma, then you are doing your religious activity as well. If you are doing your job, now the question is, what was job? So basically, in this, interestingly, it's a controversial but very interesting definition of dharma has been given in Manusmriti, and it talks about that dharma has 8 aspects, and interestingly, those 8 aspects also are the aspects which has been given by Mahatma Gandhi. So when people study the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi, they are able to connect the Vedantic thought, which is also being propounded by Vivekananda.
Phanindra, we can have a counter to this. Ritvik will start countering you for some time. After that, you shall counter him back. Okay.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Ritvik, you can start.
I'll start and everyone else can also join in. So, Phanindra, you were talking about basically what I understood that you are trying to get a definition for dharma. You were asking like, how shall we define dharma? So, dharma by means what I understand in Hinduism is just any right doing. Like it's not just a certain strict part or certain strict code. Like you were saying Manusmriti. I don't think Manusmriti is the right example because Manusmriti says and it writes down certain rules and then says that these are the rules you have to follow, you must follow. But I don't think so. Like
you will have 2 to 3 minutes to counter him. After that, he will start. Okay, you can continue.
I was saying that there are no there are no certain set rules. Like for example, in case of Vivekananda, like we say that God taught him the path of ahimsa. In case of Buddha, in case of Mahavir Jain, they taught him ahimsa. But at the same time, while in the battle of Kurukshetra, Krishna, Lord himself, he told to actually incite violence. But he wasn't actually promoting violence. He was promoting what shall be done, what is right. Like if you want to do this in a modern context, like take World War II. If in World War II fighting was not to incite violence but to do justice, and only justice can bring stability. So that's my point, that dharma is not a defined thing as you say, or as anyone said dharma is what is necessary to be done to protect the humankind and its development at the same time.
So, yeah, Ritvik, and I just highlighted that part only. I just said that this is one of the connotation and the another connotation is used by those who are really those who try to radicalize the masses. So this is the definition which people should understand. And as you said that I disagree to you when you said that Manusmriti is not a good example to take. Manusmriti has some defects from the modern socio context, social economic milieu, but that does not mean that we are going to discredit any author or any writing. So the idea which you said, like the definition, I'll also, if you'll allow me, I'll quote that definition as well. So basically, that definition is a very interesting and a unique definition. So next time when we'll switch to you, I'll find that definition as well. And if there is a good content written somewhere, and there is also some bad content written somewhere from the present context, that does not mean that we are not going to take that particular reference as an example. So if there is something that is good somewhere, there is no denial about taking something, some good aspect of a written. Plus, we should all, if you are talking, if you are taking an example, we should also understand that people are using other books as well, not in our, not just in our religion, but in other religion as well. So when some person say that this particular leader was very cruel, very militant, I always say that one thing, that do not compare that present person from the present socio-economic condition. Compare that person from those particular social conditions. So when there are people who say, who even say that, and I'm interesting to see even a single example where the person has not given some any controversial statement from the modern present times. Even if you talk about Western philosophers like Socrates and Plato, if you will be very, we all get very ashamed that how, what kind of idea he held about women. So even Socrates and Plato, if they have said that those kind of nonsensical thing about women and even slaves, which are not acceptable in the modern times, but when we are not discrediting their other models, their other philosophies, then why just we just reject that particular part of philosophy. So if we are rejecting and selectively accepting from the West, the same can be done in India. I'm not saying that everything needs to be accepted by its face value. We have to take the things from by adding a pinch of salt, but there are certain good aspects and we should take those aspects, should identify their rationality from the modern paradigms, and then we should try to incorporate them, and that's change that tracks the path of religion to morality. Religion which remains stagnant and which just takes the things by their face value have to diminish. And if the religion is ready to accept new things, is ready for a debates and discussion, any religion for that matter, is always has a tendency to become more and more rational. Over to you, Ritvik.
Yeah,
Funny,
thank you.
funny. Here I would like to interrupt a little bit. We are talking in the context of Vivekanand ji, and somewhere we want to bring it out what his views and how he can or he would influence us, right? So the gist of dharma, religion, or any other thing was basically a kind of worship, and gist of all worship, whether it is prayers, offering flowers, or visiting temples or anything, is to be pure and to do good to others, right? So basically this is what he debated everywhere, and this is the prime gist of the thing is, if you are pure from your heart and if you are really able to help others, this is what we have to learn from Vivekanand ji, and then review ourselves whether we are up to that or not. Yeah. So I
Yes, sir.
think
That's a perfect
discussion.
gist for.
Yeah, but somewhere we have to bring it to a conclusion that rather than going deeper into Christianity or any other religion, faith, or any other view, eventually everyone says be pure, be convinced, and do good to others. Even sometimes we have to do or take some harsh measures, even when we know that eventually this will be a good for him, right? So I think
Yes,
we
sir. Precisely. That's conclusion.
right.
Wait. Anindra, sorry to interrupt. We have one more participant, one more, I guess he's first year, who wants to participate, who wants to come out and speak on this topic. Ankur Agarwal, I guess you are here.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
So
But
you
sir,
can start.
I'm not here to speak on any topic, sir. I am listening only, sir.
Okay, actually, your CR informed me that you wanted to participate. So, okay, no worries about that.
Wind
Okay.
up then the debate. We should
Yeah, I
wind up
think
the
we
discussion.
can wind up now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Varsha,
and already the gist has been given by Sir N.S. Rajput
yes,
sir, and that's basically the ultimate gist uh, that is also highlighted in the Vedantic philosophy of Swami Vivekananda, that live and let others live. That's the ultimate idea.
so Varsha, you can wind up the session with a vote of thanks.
Okay, yeah. So, on the behalf of Electronics Engineering Society, it's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks. I'm grateful to NSR sir for not only sparing his valuable time, but also enlightening us today. I would also like to thank our moderators, Ritvik Bhaiya and Panindra Bhaiya, for having connected this event as it was, and also all the participants who presenting such valuable thoughts. So here we wind up once again, thanking you all of you for being here today and making this event a great one. Thank you.
Yes, and before we finally close, I would like to extend my heartiest thanks to Varsha as well, because she extended a vote of thanks and no one thanked him. So we thank
As
Varsha to be present and supportive. I appreciate everyone, Panindra and Ritvik, to have been very good guide and moderators. So it is
thank you,
really a
sir.
good start. Even in, I'm tempted to an extent that I'm thinking, why not to hold such interactions very frequently, maybe every week, every month, or a thing when we can simply sit together, talk about, and strengthen our electronics engineering society. That would be a great thing.
Yes, sir. We surely try to comply with that. Uh, we, I, uh, I think we are done here, Ishan. Thank you,
Yeah,
sir, for
yeah, yeah.
spending valuable
Right.
time.
So
Thank
what
you,
is
everyone.
the what is the next plan after this? How are we going to announce the results and other things?
So
So,
I guess first our moderators will decide the results, and we will publish it through our EES Facebook page. And
Right. So
I
now
guess
we should plan for a separate meeting, and then there we should finally decide the winners and other things, assessment part, right?
yes, sir.
So we can close and we can fix up some other time, right?
okay,
Okay, sir.
okay, sir.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye bye. Thank you, everyone. Have a great time. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
And
Bye.
yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Bye. And I would really appreciate two people actually here. First is Sudarshan Sarkar. See, you are a very
Yes.
great orator.
Hi.
So,
Thank you very much.
for that. And
It
the
means
other
a
one
lot.
was Rahul.